everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Shelly's Millions. I know everybody has been hoping that there would be some movement on a stimulus package that would include an unemployment boost, and all of the headlines are saying that we won't get an answer until after the election. But after the election is a really vague term, so I want to delve deeper into the topic and give you guys some different timelines as to what that could actually mean and how soon we could potentially get an unemployment boost, or how long it could take for us to get an unemployment boost. And if you want to see that information, make sure to stick around and watch to the end of the video. I do want to mention this at the beginning of the video. Through October 31st, Webull will give you 3 free stocks if you use my referral link down below after an initial deposit of $100 on the platform. So if that's something you've been thinking about, do it now before October 31st. Their normal promo is normally 2 free stocks, but sometimes it is as few as just 1 free stock. Okay, and as always, if I could ask you to please like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, it really helps the channel out and I appreciate it very much. So there's lots of different possible timelines for when we could see an unemployment boost, and I'm going to kind of work my way from the longest down to the shortest, and of course there's other possibilities in between as well, so it could really still be any time, and none of us exactly know when that will be, because I just want to remind everyone that the process needs to be that first they have to draft a bill, and that's what they're still kind of talking about, and the language and all of that kind of thing. So whoever drafts the bill, it would either be the Senate or the House. After that bill is drafted, then they put it on the House or the Senate floor to vote and see if it passes that branch of Congress. If it does, then it goes to whichever the other branch of Congress is. They vote on it. If it also passes them, then it goes to the president to sign it into law. After that, they would need to distribute information to the various unemployment offices on how to actually distribute that money to the people. And then after that would be when we would start to actually get that money. And that process in itself is not going to be fast, especially since they're all saying it's going to be after the election that they would start to do those kinds of things. When I was researching this video, I did use a CNET article, and I will post that in the description down below so that you guys can check that out as well. So the first possibility for a timeline is actually never. And I hope that that won't happen, and I don't think that that will be what happens, but it's a possibility. And how that would play out would be if Biden won the presidential election, or Trump stayed in office, but the House and the Senate still remained one largely controlled by the Democrats and the other largely controlled by the Republicans. So if that happens, those two sides might not ever agree, and then that would mean that we wouldn't get any additional unemployment money or any additional stimulus money. Now, a lot of you might be thinking, well, can't the president just sign another executive order? But the thing is, the Congress controls the money, the purse strings. How he got around that before, when he gave us those $300 extra payments, is he used funding from FEMA because he declared the illness a pandemic, a disaster, and FEMA money is available for disasters. So since the president declared the illness a disaster, he was able to direct where those funds would go. So normally, if there's a fire in California, the president can say, okay, here's funding from FEMA to help with that disaster. If there are hurricanes and floods in Louisiana, he can say, okay, that was a disaster. FEMA, give Louisiana that disaster money. So since he declared it a national disaster, he said, okay, FEMA, give the states this money. So the funding from FEMA, is gone. So he can't tap into that program again. So he would have to find other money that was already allocated that he could tap into. And I suppose that's possible, but right now we're not really hearing much about that. So scenario one is never. So the second scenario, and this is one of the longer time frames, is if Biden wins the presidential election and the Democrats flip the Senate so that that is also largely controlled by the Democrats and the House remains in control by the Democrats. So in between the election and when the new president would be inaugurated, that's called the lame duck period because Trump is still acting president, but we know that a Democratic president would be coming in. And same with the existing Senate, we would know that it was about to turn more Democratic. So in that lame duck period that they call it, it would be unlikely that the Senate would want to kind of be cooperative. And so they might just wait until the change of power happens. And that the inauguration is January 20th, 2021. And if we had to wait that long, it would likely be February until a bill was drafted and voted on. And then we'd be looking at mid-February before that money actually made it into our hands. So the third possibility is December 11th, that they could start talking about stimulus again. And that is because Congress has to meet anyway to talk about CR, continuing resolution to avoid a government shutdown. And often when they talk about CR, they tack on other elements when they talk about that. So it's possible that they would update us regarding an unemployment boost or a stimulus package at that time. And if they did tack something on to the CR talks, we would likely have that money right around Christmas time. Possibility number 4 is that Trump wins the presidential election and that the Senate stays Republican and the House switches to Republican. So if that happens, that would actually be the fastest timeline. And we could have a bill drafted and voted on by around December 13th. And then, of course, that would put money in our hands right around Thanksgiving time. So all of these potential outcomes are largely tied to the results of the election. And that's kind of why there's a pause right now. I think they want to see what's going to happen so that both the Republicans and the Democrats can see what the likelihood of getting their specific bills passed is. So really, because Congress has dragged their feet so long on a new bill and signing it into law, the soonest at this point that we could actually receive that money would be right around Thanksgiving time. So I'm hoping actually that they're able to continue to work on something and that there is bipartisan support. I really hope that both the Republicans and the Democrats can put aside their differences and come to an agreement to help the people that really need it, because I know a lot of people are really struggling without that additional unemployment money. That's it for me today, guys. I do upload videos on Mondays and Thursdays, and I do a live stream every Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you have unemployment questions or you just want to chat, I'd be happy to see you guys there. Thank you so much for watching Shelly's Millions. I'll see you next time.